You ever get just sick of yourself?
Brother, let me tell you. It's not pizza. It's not chicken. It's chicken pizza, a.k.a. Chizza! Get yourself a Chizza right now at KFC. Let me tell you something. There are, famous restaurants in Manhattan, New York that serve this exact sort of dish. It's a chicken parm pizza. It's not a bread pizza. Instead of the bread, it's chicken. You get 2 white cutlets with some mozzarella cheese, some marinara, and some pepperoni, and it is heralded as this culinary advancement, delicious star dish that you have to try. And KFC is doing them right now all across the country, all across the world, bringing together the best 2 dishes in the world, chicken parm and pizza. Throw some pepperoni on top. You got yourself a Chizza. There are famous chefs and cooks who are whipping these things up, and KFC's got them for a fraction of the cost at the same exact delicious price. You can get yours right now. Again, 2 white meat cutlets, marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, extra crispy fillets so you get a little bit of a crunch, and you get that chicken. It's kind of like...
They're so good.
Dude.
I didn't say anything that whole ad break because I was just eating
them.
pizza.
I mean, it's kind of like a low-carb, high-meat, high-protein carnivore diet. It's the best of all worlds, and you can get it right now. Order KFC's new Chizza at participating KFC locations today. It's another edition of KFC Radio on the Barstool Sports Network. We got fallout from the Klemmer episode. The Klemmer episode came out, and I was actually happy to hear some of the other people at the New York office be like, we don't all feel that way. So I was happy to hear that there are people who are like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like anything else, I think it spirals, it gets dramatic. I think Klemmer, we know, has a little bit of a flair for the dramatic at this point. Gets very...
What?
Just Big Ev was just like, me and a bunch of people here are like, it's not all doom and gloom. We've had good conversations with Dave. We don't feel like pressured to go to Chicago. We don't want to go to Chicago. We're happy here. He's happy with us here. Like, we're fine.
Yeah.
And I think
I think a lot of that feeling has to do with the fact that just the office is very brutalist. And I mean that as the architecture of it.
Yeah.
Rather than it is very much like walking into Al Pacino's office in A Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's just all concrete.
It's not a fun place, but and we said it last episode, it never has really been fun. I think right now there are people who take a lot to heart. And it's a tough place to work when if feedback and comments and narratives and all that sort of shit really affect you, it's going to be a tough place to work. And then you have to decide, are you down to dive into that shit? Because you will get airtime and you will get, storylines and popularity and shit. But that will come with a lot of criticism and a lot of heat. Or do you like to stay out of the mud? Mm-hmm. But you can't do both. And I think right now there's a lot of both going on. It's like, I want to be in the mix and I want to do everything. And then the minute that people are like, fuck you, you suck.
Well, I think everyone wants to stay in the mud and you have the attention with like Tyson. Like, you get punched in the face.
Exactly.
And then you get punched in the face and you're like, fuck,
this sucks. Totally. But, I was thinking more about it, and it's like, there's always... I'm very cautious to try to speak for anybody, and certainly anybody who's at the beginning of their career, because I'm obviously at a very different place. But it's like, I'm not in their shoes, but there was a point in time where we were in a similar type of shoes, where it was like a lot of hate, a lot of negativity, and we just put our head down and just kept going, you know? And
but I get that too. Like, you want to make the world a better place than what you came into.
Sure. Totally. But that's also what I'm saying. You're not that's just not going to be Barstool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty heavily, I would like it to be more of a developmental place where there is somebody who helps you along, but it's just not going to be that.
But I disagree with that with Klemmer, where I think that exists with everyone here. Like, I don't think there's anyone here if you ask them to do your show.
No.
or,
But yes, but I don't think you're gonna have somebody who's like, hey man, we've done this with a couple other people. Here's the blueprint. And
But I and this is just me personally. Like, I don't believe in that because like it's just like
doesn't really work.
It's just not. It's fun. Like I don't know the blueprint for you. I don't know your passions. I don't know what excites you. I don't know what makes you get interesting and entertaining. So like I don't have a blueprint for you.
We don't want it to be
I don't have a blueprint for
cookie
me. I don't have a blueprint for anybody. But like it's a weird thing. Like the whole thing's weird. I don't know. But
No,
I think everyone here is willing and an active participant in doing each other's shows and that kind of
That is true. Yes.
So that's all the encouragement leader. I don't know whatever word you want to say for it. Like that's what the leader does. So everyone's a leader. Everyone's your own leader.
Right. Everybody kind of is willing to do what they're asked, but no one's gonna like proactively seek you out and sit you down and tell you what to do.
Because those are the kind of people who are here.
Right. And that's also like we don't want that because it's like what worked for him or her. If we do the same exact thing, we don't want the same exact fucking show. We want it to be different. We want it to be a different audience. We want it to be different things. So, like, you got to get over that. And I just started to think about, like, you know, a guy like Marty who, like, for the last couple years went through fucking hell.
Yeah.
On a level that, like, no, not many people can relate to. When, you know, Tom Brady is tweeting about you and you're on the Jumbotron of the Celtics game and you have people like actively like yelling at you and your girlfriend in public. And like, what did Marty do? I haven't seen Marty complain or talk about it once.
Right.
Just put his fucking head down and he laid low for a little bit, which is, I think, some advice that some people should take here too. Just like get out of the shootout for a while. And then like came back doing what he does, filming with fucking major leaguers. Like, just, if that can happen, if we can get through what we got through, if that sort of shit can happen, you can too. So, is it perfect? No. Is it going to change? No. But is it, like, the worst? Also, no.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, there needs to be some reminder of that. But I also can understand the frustration of, like, when you're younger and you do want it to work and you see so many other successful people and how come not me or what do I need to do or whatever. And I definitely get the narrative is frustrating. The Chicago, New York thing is very frustrating. If you're just like, I'm trying, I'm working, it is funny, and then people take it to heart and they take it seriously.
That's the one I don't have sympathy for. Because that narrative is not something you can Taylor Swift that shit. You do not have to be a part of that.
Yeah,
like
right.
You're
willing, engaging in it. And
you're a willing participant, and obviously we are when we talk about it.
But I also think by like just admitting that it is what it is. Like a lot of good, funny people went there. It's gonna be a good and funny place, you know. So it's like I'd rather just be real about it. And it's like just because something isn't the best or the funniest doesn't mean that it's not also quality or work or whatever you want to, characterize it as. So it's kind of like, and I just think there's a world where like, I'm trying to think because it was back in the day, it was different because there was so few people and we all kind of got mixed up in our shit. But it's pretty rare that we like will dive into other people's content. It's like just do your own shit.
Yeah,
when it breaks out into like a company-wide story, we talk about it. When we have Barstool people on here, it's obviously going to get a little incestual. But when someone's going viral, we'll mention Jerry doing something, but it's not like we're making it.
By the way, I didn't know how last night was going to go. I will admit, I thought the foot thing was a little strange of having.
I only saw the clip of Dan.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Was it funny?
It was unbelievable. Like, Jerry's so like genuine. He just kept being like, "It's an appreciation. It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish. It's an appreciation."
I can hear him saying appreciation.
Is when he saw Dan. Oh God.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh my God.
I mean, Dan had on the tights and everything, bro. Yeah, the leggings. He looked from the waist down. He looked sexy,
Dan's
bro.
Legs, bro.
Yo, that was weird, right? I was like, if you showed me just those legs, I'd be like, that's a chick.
Bro, last night I had a wild night fucking internally where like I was seeing Dan's legs and being like, and then I was watching Dune and seeing a sandworm and being like, I'm genuinely horny right now. It was a weird night to be John Feitelberg sitting on the couch last night.
Bro, those baby blue yoga pants and the feet all done up, painted. I was like, what? It looked like a when you just like mix and match heads and tops and bottoms and all that. I was like, what is happening here? Oh God. Oh God. Oh no.
And Lucas is like, for the record, you did say you would like to see Carlita back. I never said that. I never. Went like full Francesa. I never said that.
It's great. But yeah,
Jerry. Sorry, one more. When Jerry asked, because Paige was talking for Dan.
Right.
She would like lean. You couldn't see her feet, but she would lean over and like speak when Carlita had to speak. And Jerry was so befuddled. He's like, who was doing the translation then? And the way he called the translation. Who was doing the translation? It was so funny, man.
But there is, whether it's counting how many blogs somebody writes or how many hours they're in or if they take off, it's just like.
But that's just work, and it happens everywhere, and we've done it here forever.
I know, but it's never been good. I think if you waste your time doing that, you're not doing your best at making content.
No, I agree, but to say we didn't do it.
I don't know. I mean, have we ever? I don't think I've ever really fixated on it the way some people fixate.
No,
here.
certainly not fixated.
Yeah.
I've never really fixated on anything.
And you have thoughts and shit, but what it really is.
But we used to G-chat complaining about other bloggers
Totally.
and stuff like
Yes.
that. Like it's just
okay. Yes. Going public with those things is what's weird. To me.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with you there.
Like there's a million things I think
yeah.
internally, and I would never say.
Yeah.
There
were times where I'd be like, can you believe this fucking guy didn't blog this weekend?
Absolutely.
And shit like that.
That is human nature.
But those people, and if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I'd be like, that dude's not going to be here in a year. Don't worry about it.
So just
Fucking do
put your
thing.
That's more my point. Is like you are actively doing worse content and being a worse personality by worrying about this shit than worrying about what you could be doing better.
But I did it, so I have to understand
Absolutely.
why it happens.
Yes, I don't understand quite the people doing it publicly, but I do.
Yeah.
I do understand the feeling of it. I don't understand I'm going to broadcast this to the world,
right?
Because we are in a PR game where it's like, this is gonna make you look bad. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna go down a road you don't want to go down. But by saying this,
everything I did everything. I did when we talk about the tweets thing, which I always have to acknowledge is so silly.
How many?
Just discussing tweets and
there is something there though. There is something there.
I
want to get to the bottom of that. I want to know what's going on there. Just there's just things that get tweeted and things that don't. And it's always been that way.
But I think that the problem with it there is that that's how Dave consumes Barstool, which is how a lot of people consume Barstool.
But that's the problem.
If things aren't maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Dave is doing a lot of checking of numbers and things like that. No. So all he sees is it's basically you're doing work at work and no one's showing the boss.
Right.
And
that can be
frustrating.
well,
what the fuck, man?
Yes. That I do get. But also, complaining about it is not really going to fix the issue here.
Right.
If I thought we had a boss that was going to go, oh wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that. Let me look into things. We don't have that boss.
Yeah.
So stop. Get back to work.
Yeah.
But I think Klemmer's very passionate, and so he's concerned and all of that. This episode is out on Thursday. There will be an episode of the Unnamed podcast, and I am supremely confident Klemmer is going to get scorched.
Do you think Dave's hatred of Klemmer is genuine or bit? Because Klemmer is definitively, if Dave was in the office, Klemmer is definitively a person Klemmer is a person Dave would like.
Yes.
He's a little weird. We talked about this back
weird
on Barstool
brain,
Radio.
very unique.
He's a little strange, a little goofy looking.
Yeah.
He's a little
he could be like a Dave guy for sure.
Yeah.
I think he respects that he is. I think he actually respects the hustle a little bit.
Yeah.
He'll never say it publicly. I think he respects that he is I'll take my lumps. I think he doesn't like that he challenges him.
Yeah.
And I think it sometimes bothers him.
But Dave typically, not typically, but occasionally he also does like that.
Yeah. I think he's just fuck the Clemaholics, but I think also it's nobody's getting fired or anything like that. So just fucking do your job. You're never gonna get fired because any of this shit. So again, Francis is the one guy who'd be like, what? But it's all this other stuff is very like this is all like storylines. And
I did say because they had me on stool scenes and they were asking me about it, and I was talking about how I was like, just the lazy tag is exactly what I said on this. Like, you should dismiss someone who is lazy, but if they're not, blah blah blah. And I was like, because you don't get fired here for not producing good work. I was like, you only get fired for starting alcohol companies or saying the N-word. But I forgot about
there's one other
blogging about
dead
girls
girls
been burned alive.
Yeah, that was a bad. Tough time. Tough break for the kid. So yeah, that's kind of my piece on that. So I'm sure if you haven't listened to it yet, you can go over to the Unnamed show. I'm sure they'll be talking about it at length. I'm sure Klemmer will be on there. And Dave is like categorically like, this is revisionist history, because I spoke to him and he's like, this is not what's going on and all that.
What do you mean?
He thinks that the Klemmer like decree was mischaracterized.
What Klemmer decree?
To not like do any content around it or whatever.
Well, but Klemmer wasn't even involved in that. Like, Klemmer wasn't even out of the thing yet. So it's just, again, if I was told by Stool Scenes people and Gaz.
Yeah, I think the way it was characterized to me was Dave was like, Klemmer was about to leave the stream and end it. And he saw a cameraman, and that's the only reason why he stayed in. So I told them, get rid of the cameraman because it's tipping Klemmer off. That I understand. I think then he took it a step further and was like, so don't nobody film him at all, so that doesn't happen. And that kind of became like, I'm not doing any content.
So that's poor relaying of information from.
And also, I think like you have to have some sort of backbone and be like, I'm gonna take a picture or I'm gonna do the video or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Get yelled at by the boss.
No,
but like,
I disagree with you there. The picture, yes, but like the feeling.
You don't have to do like a whole.
It was told to anyone who was told to. It was told to very seriously. Okay. It was told to me very seriously. Like, I don't really fly in the face of Dave all that often, so it wouldn't take that serious of a face to tell me not to do it.
But you knew, like,
but it was like, okay, that seems like a third rail.
Got it. Okay. So in that case, I think this is one time where he was wrong on that, but I think there's millions of more examples.
It could have been just a messenger. It could have been not told to me.
But let's say even one time he crossed this line, like, there's a billion others of him just like hands off. You know what I mean? So so that's that on that. I there's a strong chance that right now on like 31st and 7th there is just absolute mayhem on the streets of Manhattan.
Why?
I was driving in. And
I mean, that's strong chances there.
Always, yeah. More than usual. I was driving in. I get to my block where my garage is, and there's a couple cones and says road closed. And so it's a big traffic jam. I'm like, wow, this is taking like 20 minutes to move this one block. And I get there and I realize it's because no one's going straight. Everyone's turning down by Madison Square Garden. And I park on that street. So I'm not going all the way through. I just got to get halfway down. So and where my garage is, there's no road work. So there's road work going on the street, but it's at the very end near 7th Avenue. So my garage is before any of the construction starts. So I'm like, I'm just going to get into my garage, and then I'm going to go out the other exit. So I get out of my car, and I move the cone, and it's got like a bar attached to it.
Yeah.
And I just move it, and I start to drive through, and then I was going to stop and put it back. And as I stop to put it back, another guy comes behind me. And I stop him, and I'm like, yo, the only reason I'm doing this is because I park here. You're not going to be able to get through here, so don't do it. And he goes, oh, that's why I park there too. I'm doing the same thing. And I was like, all right. I'm not going to tell this guy, hey, when you're done, you need to get out and do this.
Yeah.
So I just drove, and he just drove. And I'm pretty sure we just opened the floodgates to drive into an absolutely untenable construction zone. Not like okay, we'll let you guys through. Jackhammers, street open, the whole nine. And I'm sure there's a bunch of people who just like, oh, that part's open. Let me drive through, only to get like 9/10 of the way down the street to the next avenue, and then have to, I don't know what. Then everybody's got to back up. I don't know. I there's a chance that this is still going on right now, hours later, that when I leave, there's going to be like blood in the streets. It's like, I don't know. I got an interview, bro. Sorry. I guess I could have let him go by me, and I could have put it back. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell that guy what to do. I wasn't going to be like, listen, this is going to cause mayhem if you don't, And he didn't. He just kept driving. I was like, this is going to be a fucking problem. So, Department of, whatever, City Works or whatever. Sorry on that one. But there's probably going to be like blood on my hands. There's probably going to be like a death over this.
It's not like there's like a massive event at Madison Square Garden today, so it should be good.
What's happening tonight?
Big East
Oh,
tournament.
the Big East tournament, yeah. Well, that's on them for doing construction right around the fucking garden around the Big East tournament. Come on. Dude, the Big East tournament, I saw, I don't know if this is indicative of basketball or indicative of KG and Paul Pierce, but they were like, yo, women's hoops is bigger than men's hoops right now in college. And they were, KG was like, can you name the top 5 college basketball players? And Paul Pierce was like, I can't name the one.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, God damn, that is an indictment, I think, of college basketball. But also, you guys should probably be able to name one of them. I can't. You can't.
I sure can.
I used to be able to. I used to be able to tell you who's probably going to be the top 10 picks in the draft. But, I mean, there's no juice.
No.
None.
Not outside Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Right. Like, and that was funny, too. KG was like, I could name like 5 chicks before I could talk about any of the guys. Caitlin, Angel. Those girls are killing it. And then he just stopped. He eventually got to Juju, but like he didn't get to 5. They said that he said those girls could get 10 points in an NBA game.
Really?
And I was like, I don't know about that. I feel like
Well,
their
Caitlin,
point was like
I don't know their games at all. Really.
Well, their
I
point
know
was they have
Caitlin.
handles and they can shoot. So they're like they're going to cross half court and hit a 3. They have 3 points. You know. I think eventually guys are going to lock that up.
Yeah.
I don't think if Caitlin Clark got in a game today, any guys would be just like, oh, let her shoot. So I don't know about that one, but it was a little surprising to hear they're such like old school guys though. They were like, it's not like it is anymore. You can't touch him. You can't. So like the playing field's even. I was like, I don't think.
Yeah.
But okay, sure guys. We got Ari Shaffir on the show today. Phenomenal interview. Just a good old-fashioned podcast interview. We talk about it on the show during the interview, just kind of how the podcast game has changed, and a lot of interviews are not what they used to be, where it was just like people hanging out on a show. And this one was that. He brought his dog, we're hanging out, we're laughing, telling stories, everything that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we got Ari on the show. We'll get into voicemails. What do you got?
Dude, I was thinking that with the Klemmer episode, we didn't get to talk about the Oscars that much, or at all. The Oscars were great. They were amazing. Not amazing, but they were great. It was a great Oscars. It was what they were supposed to be. It's an appreciation of movies, blah, 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 whatever. One thing that stuck out to me, and I was thinking about, I can't think of a different situation which has happened. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. There's been a diametric shift in the power of that relationship.
Ooh.
John Krasinski used to be the hot one.
Oh, Emily Blunt's a smoke now.
Emily Blunt, they're both exceptionally attractive people.
Yes.
So it was, but like there was John Krasinski had an era like 13 Hours into Jack Ryan, Quiet Place, where he was a stone.
He became a stud.
He's a hottie.
He went from like the funny guy at your office to like, oh, you're a you're a tough guy. Yeah.
And now it's happened like 3 red carpets in a row where I'm like, that's Jim. Like I'm no longer like, oh, that's John Krasinski. Like I'm like,
Back
that's
to Jim Halpert.
Look, it's Jim with Emily Blunt out there. And I wonder how that works in a relationship where it's just like, I was the hot one, and now you're the hot one.
I think it's much easier to go that direction as a guy. I think when the guy all of a sudden supersedes the girl, it's a problem. I think John is happy to go back to being Jim with my super hot wife. Oh no, my wife is so hot. People think she's hotter than me. But
Dude,
if it's the other direction, that is an issue, and you better believe it.
I think the flight maybe 2 from Austin, whatever. I was watching Devil Wears Prada. Emily Blunt, still again, obviously exceptionally attractive person, but like. It's a different person.
Well, it's an important thing to remember that there's no such thing as ugly and hot. It's just only rich and poor. And as she's gotten richer, she's gotten hotter. I mean, I knew this, but I did not know this. I saw the video of our boy and your teammate, Slick Willie Compton, the other day. His year 10 compilation. Where in the beginning you see his teeth and his hair.
Yeah.
And I texted him a screenshot of himself, and I said, glow up does not characterize this. Like, there are not enough words in the dictionary to describe what happened to you. And he was like, it's crazy I used to walk around like that. He said there were people that said, don't fix your teeth. It's your personality. And I said, those are bad people. Those are ignorant people or bad people who just don't want to see others be happy. Because that dude had rocks in his mouth. And he said when he got it fixed, there were people who said, it doesn't even look different.
Oh, that's crazy.
I was like, yo, again, bad people that lie right to your face.
He
said he got the hair
once.
fixed. He got like a haircut and got the teeth fixed, and now he's like a pretty boy. I did tell him, I was like, you'd probably still be in the league if you had those teeth, though. Pretty boys, they don't need that in the locker room. They need the guy with rocks in his mouth in the locker room. You'd probably be on year 12, 13, whatever by now.
He said something recently. I forget what it was, but I was like, oh yeah, it was a very white trash opinion. And I was like, oh,
I forgot you're garbage.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I always forget because you're from Missouri because of the new teeth.
Yeah,
Like,
and I said to him, I was like, so were like braces like not an option? He was just like, they're like under our insurance, it was too expensive, and we just didn't do that. And I'm like, it's crazy. It's just, that's like, if you're ugly, you're ugly. Can't fix it. You can fix your teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, on behalf of like America and insurance and dental work everywhere, I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry that it took you like 20-something, whatever years to get that fixed. God damn, that's got to be tough. But yeah, once you start getting that money, you get a lot better looking every single time without fail. So as long as you're doing, as long as you're using the money to get better looking, you can buy it. You don't have to. You can still stay ugly, but most people don't. You got any Johnisms today? Check the book.
I don't think so, to be honest.
Wow. You've been a philosopher these past year or so. I feel like you've always got something.
Oh, this is a good one, kind of. I guess it's actually kind of interesting now that we're kind of looking for something.
Okay.
You ever get just sick of yourself?
Brother, let me tell you.
Like,
I
have the most severe, I guess it's like writer's block for podcasting. Whenever I'm talking, there is a voice in my head going, "Shut the fuck up."
I'm so happy you said this because I'm going through. It's not that. It's not like shut up. People don't want to hear you. I have gotten to the point where, for whatever reason, I have accepted that people want to hear us. There's been enough proof that people want to hear us. But I am in a podcast like confidence rut of just like, that was terrible. That wasn't funny. This is not interesting.
Dude,
part of me is like, yo, what worked for us is that we're normal, but like normal only takes you so far. Like, I got nothing left. I told you everything, and all the stories that are of interest happening in my life now, I can't talk about publicly. So I'm like, voicemails. I don't know what to do because the podcast game is filled with interesting people now.
To me, it's not so much for me. It's not so much like a lack of things to talk about. It's just like when I'm talking, I hate myself. Like, I'm like, oh my god.
Well, that's the depression.
Yeah, like,
that's on account of the depression.
But it's a different kind of like hate than I've had in depressive episodes. Although I am definitively depressed. If you walk into my apartment right now, I am definitively currently in a
funk,
rough state.
Yeah,
like we might be doing. It seems like we're not going to anymore. But like, there was going to be a part. We're going to shoot a sketch where we're going to do a scene in my apartment. And I was like,
oh no,
they're just going to have to see this. Like, this is how the sausage gets made, boys.
That's great. Hey, listen, this is why the sketch show is funny. Because of this apartment. So fucking deal with it.
Paz is laughing because he's like, it's good when I see it.
I thought I already witnessed that.
Like, dude, I got like fucking like 3 HelloFresh boxes all over the place. Like,
I hear you, dog. I hear you on that. Dude, things that I just are like, there's just been no shampoo in my shower for so long.
What?
And like it's just sitting on the stairs for me to like bring up. I put it on the stairs, like just bring it on the way up, and I just don't do it like every day. It's just like little things like that I'm just like, nope, not doing it. And it just fucks me.
And like every night I've been like, just do 5 minutes, just do 10 minutes, and I do it. But it's just
and
not
it also
making
takes like okay, because I was gonna say you're in a bad spot. Because really when your shit's like really, even when it's really messy, it's like, if you like grab all the clothes and like put the dishes in the sink, it's like, okay, it's kind of done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But
like, that really did only take a couple
I think
minutes.
it's part like, honestly, everything I'm saying right now is just like, probably need a break. where like it's because like part
Oh
of
my
the reason
God.
my apartment's so messy is just like I get home
And I'm
I
done.
dump my bag and I fill it up again because I'm
Yeah.
going somewhere else. And like for this whole
Bro,
year, it's like 3.5 months.
Especially you. I mean, we've all been doing a lot of travel. You've done extra travel on top of that, and the sketch show on top of that. And I'm not traveling and doing a second show, and I'm like, this is fucking brutal. So I don't know how you guys are doing it because it has been a wild go for us.
I broke my depression last night.
Nice!
There you
Round of applause
go.
for Paz!
3-hour clean. Like there was just a shoebox underneath my toilet, for months now. Just never moved it, and then I just cleaned up my entire apartment. And then after it was done, I was like, that just it's fine.
All you need is a victory because then you're like, okay, I'm not that bad, It's God, it's. You think that people are always depressed? I do think that depression's a little bit of privilege because like when you were just like trying to stay alive, you're like not
Depression has spiraled into
right.
a whole thing.
Like
now
people
where
just weren't depressed because they were just like, I don't know, I'm still alive, and like that's good. And now it's like I'm not the best I can be, and it's like, well, no fucking kidding.
Yeah.
man.
This I do not want to do a depression segment. That this honestly, until you said it, I was just like, I just wrote in a notebook, I hate my own voice.
I don't want to do depression, but I hate my own voice.
Because it doesn't feel like what it typically felt like. It feels different than usual. But it's so loud right now. Like, shut the fuck up. Dude.
But isn't it crazy though that there are people that are not like that? There are people who like watch themselves back and love their own videos and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never been that, but I'm like, I don't really know that anymore. There was a time where by the way, I think I something's like wrong with my brain. I've been saying this for a little while. I'm like going to call a neurologist. We did the dozen the other day. The category was just Best Picture for the last 30 years. That's effectively my entire life. And we got like 2 movies in, and I just couldn't say movie.
Really?
I was just like,
I don't think I'd be very good at that either.
really? I was like, other dozen teams I think would get all 30 and have to go further than 30 years out.
No.
I was like, the one with the water with the fucking mermaid, but I couldn't
Shape
think
of
of it. And
Water.
then I tipped Caroline off to it, so
Yeah.
she said it, and then it came back to me, and all I could think about was how I tipped her off on that. And then I was like, training day, like I was like, Denzel had to have won something. I was like, but no, he didn't. But I could have said like Forrest Gump. It didn't have to be like. There was like major movies. I think Titanic was on the list of still like 30 years ago, and I couldn't.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. It was like late 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. I was like, bro,
I
used to make a living writing like lists and references and memories, and like that's how we did things, like.
That'll be there forever.
Bro, I was talking to John today about Lucy's, and I was saying how Bert Kreischer did a video saying you can pop the rim of your Lucy out and put your used pouches in the rim, and he goes, that's disgusting. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you put it in your pocket. It's like,
But
what is wrong with you people?
I thought it was like to save it.
To put it back
Because
in.
I've done that with chewing tobacco before. With like, I had a pouch, sometimes I'll just throw it back in the case, and I'll put that back in later. Because the chewing tobacco, you can tell,
Bro, that literally gives me the chills.
there's still juice in there. There's still juice in that apple, you know?
Bro, that was straight out of a Frank Reynolds script. Still juice in there, Charlie. That is disgusting. Used tobacco juice is disgusting.
Bro, I've told this before. I had a buddy, this is in high school, where, because in high school, like, we'd fucking hide our spitters because, like, our house parents and stuff would find them.
Yeah.
And you can't always get off campus to go get a new tin. So I had a buddy once who was so fiending chew, he got a strainer, and he just poured out an old spitter, and then got and put it back in.
Bro.
Dude, you get into tough times. Dude, you're 16 years old with a nicotine addiction and no,
What are you
no
doing?
means to get to a gas station. You'll fucking go to some dark places, bro.
Life finds a way. Life finds a way. God damn.
But fuck, what was I just saying? What were we just saying? Oh, I was talking about Best Picture. I'm gonna try and name 5. I don't know if I can name 5.
He took Oppenheimer off the list,
Okay.
and he took the king returns because Rudy has like he knows
Okay.
what's it called too well.
Moonlight.
This is making me feel so much better.
Yeah, I'm not good at this. You said, yeah, I'm out.
Nice. Okay. All right. That's all I need is someone else to be.
Honestly,
as
as
bad
we're
as
talking
me.
about it, I think I had a couple more, and then we changed lanes, and my
That's
brain
what happens. Your
was
brain
like,
just
nope,
goes.
we're doing something else now.
It's really just about being able to focus your mind.
When I started talking, I was gonna say, let's see if I can name 10. Because when we were talking,
You
I
had a bunch.
was like, I bet I can do 10. And then I was like, I don't know if I can do 10 anymore. Let's take it down to 5, and I can get 1.
Okay, good. All right, I'm not demented. Okay, that's very good to hear. That makes me very happy. I think I'm old enough where like dementia is on the table, or like not dementia, but like you do just start getting stupider. But I don't know. I think I'm right on the cusp. You know,
Of dementia?
of almost not dementia. Like this is just natural. Like at 40, you start to be like, what was that person's name again? But maybe not. I thought that was later in life, but I'm seeing like TikTok videos and shit from people being like, I walk into a room and I'm like, why am I here? You know? And I'm like, oh, okay, good. Like you too. You know, I just want other people to be as bad as me.
You just
Then I'm
want to
good.
feel like you're not alone.
Yes, correct. Correct. That is correct. Virgin Mary full of weed. Hitler's balls. Cocaine.
Chickens.
And a priest with a shotgun. Those
What are you
are
talking about?
I'm talking about The Gentleman on Netflix. It's Guy Ritchie's first ever television series, and those things are just a few of the highlights of season 1 on Netflix right now.
I like how you're saying season 1 because it's already
there's
so
gonna
well
be more.
reviewed. It's like
Dude,
it's
I started it the other day, and it starts off with such a bang with Theo James is the guy,
Yes.
right? Yeah, and they just set the scene so well. You know exactly what son and brother he is and what the relationship to his father was like, and then his dad dies and he takes over what he thought is like the royal empire, and it turns out it's way deeper than that, and it's much more criminal and gangster and all that, and I stopped it because I was like kind of like distracted, and I was like, I am going to watch this tomorrow night when I can watch it.
That's great when you like
When I know.
find a show.
I was like, let me put on like some.
I was just put on something to fuck around. Never mind. This is
Right.
This gets my full attention.
I was like, I need to do some shit right now. Let me put on like Sunny, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like, I need to sit down and watch The Gentleman, so I'll be binging it tonight. It follows a new cast of low-down lords and gangsters slumming it in Britain's criminal underworld. Guns out and pinkies up. Watch what happens when you try to play gangsters as their own game. Don't miss The Gentleman, now on Netflix. Only on Netflix, now playing.
KFC Fights gang, I got a question for you. So I just got done taking a shit in the work bathroom, and the toilet seat was warm, and I fucking hate that. And it got me to thinking, all of our dicks touch the front part of the bowl when we sit down to shit, unless it's got that little opening in the toilet bowl, like some public bathrooms do. But got me to thinking, what's the over-under on how many dicks that your dick would have touched through that toilet bowl? That's just something that fucking popped into my head and kind of got me a little weirded out.
Let me say,
So,
let me be the first to say,
thanks, Viva
congratulations to this guy for having a dick that's touching the
I disagree.
the seat of the bowl.
I think my dick only touches when it's particularly cold.
Wait, what are we talking about here? He's saying unless the seat is cut out.
Yeah.
Your dick touches, because it hangs.
Yeah.
So when it's low, when it's small, it's
It
poking
hits,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
Like when I'm free,
Okay, that makes
when
sense.
I'm having a freezing day.
You're just a nub. It's flat. It's straight.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause I'm
typically
I'm below the
typically it's like you ever seen an Apollo 13 where you're like trying to dock it? Like, typically I'm just going down and it's just hanging and I'm like
yeah. Right.
and then
It's very easy to dock it.
Yeah.
In Apollo 13, it's like this big for this big.
Yeah.
This is hot dog hallway type stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah.
this is this all changes a lot when you know you have a woman editing the podcast.
Poor Jackie.
So we'll make this quick. Yeah, but it's I would say 5 times in my life I've had my dick hit the toilet seat, and I do think about it when
seat?
it happens. Where I'm like, oh God, that's just I just fucking docked with a guy.
He just went tip to tip.
Yeah.
You gotta remember. Oh, excuse me. Jackie was a fan before she became.
Yeah.
She signed up for this. Yeah. I got no sympathy. And it was worse back then.
I think it
was way worse back then, bro.
It was. But I don't know if it's the new seating. Like, I see
you look her. I don't ever
reactions
see her.
a lot.
I never see her.
I'm like,
Yeah.
She
doesn't like this. Yeah. She hates a job. She hates a job, for sure. All right, next up.
KFC crew was good. Got a quick aim of the asshole here for you. So back in college, I was out with my boys one night having a grand old time, and this girl wasted, like she was like that drunk girl, came up to me, tried to hit on me. I'm like, you know what? I'm hanging with my boys, having a good time. Have a good night though. Tried being super polite, but she kept going on and on and on, which was annoying because, you know, when you're drunk, 10 minutes feels like an hour. So, but then she starts like following me around the bar. Like I go to the bathroom, she's waiting there for me. I like walk away, talk to my other friends, and she like interjects herself. And I'm just like, ma'am, I'm trying to be polite. I do not want to talk. I don't want to go home with you. None of that. And, you know, I was drunk, so I got fed up. Took the condensation from my drink, flicked it on her and said, the power of Christ compels you. So the question is, am I the asshole? Let me know. Viva.
That's a move. I think that's enough of a, like, I don't know, we're at a bar and crazy shit happens. Like, if you, like, flicked it at her and said, get the fuck out of my face. But if you just did some weird exorcist shit,
if you're a little bit funny, you can do anything you want.
You can get away with literally murder, you know?
I've never had to do something like that.
My favorite story about this is my buddy had a girl do this to him on like a ski house trip, weekend trip, and he just fucked her. He was just like, are you happy now? Like, here, fine.
That's exactly why I've never done anything like this.
That's the way to get around it. It's like, all right, I'll just fuck you.
I'll just fuck you.
Yeah, right. At least I can maybe get some pleasure out of this.
Bro, I mean, like, this is just most of the times I've had sex.
Yeah.
It's just like someone wouldn't leave me alone.
John, the rape victim.
It is because it's just my thought on life is just like, let's just do it so we can be done with it.
Yeah,
like
get it over everything in life. Like,
I'm very much
like if we have chores to do, we need to run errands, whatever it is. Like, let's get this over with so we can go home and be done.
I'll do it. I'll give you my all while I'm doing it.
Yeah,
but like, let's just do it and then we can be done with it and not have to talk about it anymore.
That's sex.
And
that's sex with John.
If you're a woman and you hang around me, force yourself around me for more than 10 minutes, fine. We'll have sex. Then will you go away? Is
that enough?
What more do you want from me?
I'm only a man. I mean, I don't think people realize how often that happens. Probably that happens quite often with guys.
It's the worst, dude. It's the worst. It is. I like. I'll have it with like. It's not just strangers. Like, it'll be like with women I'm dating, where I'm like, once they cuddle up, I'm like,
here we go.
Just want to use me for my body.
Yeah.
Fine.
Here's my dick. It's funny that your dick still gets hard though. You're like, all right.
Yeah, it did. I have a hard dick a lot. It is. I was just talking about how fucking the not Shai Hulud. What is it? What do they call the worms?
What?
In Dune.
Oh, I call them the sandworms.
Yeah, but
well, those look so much like an asshole.
But last night in particular, I was
like,
Jesus Christ.
That's a hole.
I was like, that fucking thing.
That's asking for
Look
it.
at that thing, dude.
Adriana Chechik's jealous of that thing.
Look at that fucking hole. Bro, I came this close to pausing it. Not to masturbate, just to look at it longer. Like the scene where like it's coming up, it's at night, and Timothée Chalamet's running with his mom, and it's him looking at it, and I was like,
yeah,
a lot of spokes.
Crazy.
But yeah, it's actually a New Girl episode where Jess and Jessica Biel are competing for the same man at a wedding, and it is played by Dan Egan, and Jess employs the strategy of, and this is actually, it was like rather foretelling, because this is probably 10 years ago now. It was a strategy Jess employs called Bidening. Which is if you just hang around long enough, and there are no other options, you'll
Yeah,
get
there
that
you go.
dick. and
Boy, did that come to fruition.
yeah, like this was I want to say
Well before.
Obama was still the president.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
like it's a thing called Bidening.
That's
if you just
amazing.
hang around, all like they eventually they have to take you. And you're like,
That's
oh,
insane,
That
dude.
was some Simpsons-esque, I suppose.
For real. Good for them. All right, last voicemail.
This doesn't have to be used, but I have to get this off my chest, and it's been a topic on the podcast here and there. But I'm out on true crime documentaries or like unsolved mystery documentaries because I must be too stupid to understand the concept of them. My understanding is that these documentaries are going to, one, prove something that wasn't proved at the time of the mystery, or two, it's going to lay down consequences for the suspects involved in that mystery. But they never do. None of them ever do. And it just seems like at this point, they're just meant for entertainment purposes, which is fine. I'm not saying that's not my problem with it. It's just don't label it as a true crime documentary or make it fiction. Because I just watched, there's a new documentary on Netflix called American Conspiracy. And to sum it up as fast as I can, the synopsis is an investigative journalist is pursuing a political conspiracy known as the Octopus Murders and is found dead in his hotel room and new details emerge. Well, new details did emerge, but they did jack shit. Like, this documentary is gonna have like no repercussions to the people involved. And it's a good documentary, but just make it fiction. Like, just make it like a fictional story that like is somewhat based on true events. Because there's a 4-episode rope-a-dope of just these crazy conspiracy theorists, and I know that it has conspiracy in the title, and I'm probably overthinking this too much. But it was just 4 episodes of just dragging us along. And at the very end, one of their sources was like, oh, I have the leads that can solve this story that you're trying to pursue, but it can't go in the documentary. But like, fuck it, let's make the documentary anyways. Like, am I crazy for thinking this? Am I just like completely lost on the whole idea of documentaries?
There's some
it's
truth
like,
to
I
it,
just,
but
it pissed me off the whole time. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
There's never like, there's kind of like an unspoken thing that you think there's going to be like a solving, but that's not always true. They might just be like, we're just going to tell you about these murders.
Yeah.
Like that can be a thing where it's just like,
I think
this
that
horrible thing happened and we want to tell people the story.
That was a big thing for a while. People would watch a show called Unsolved Murders and Unsolved Mysteries, and then it would end without being solved, and they'd be like, "What the hell?"
fuck? Yeah, it's like we don't know.
It's like, well, you watched Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, and they ask you at the end, like, if you have any information.
But I've been beating this drum for a little while.
Yeah,
now,
you've been-
And I had this exact conversation with my dad last night about this very movie, and because he called me and he's like, "There's this great documentary out," and he hasn't watched it. But he doesn't watch, like, actually him and my mom have started getting into TV for a few years now, but it's actually been fun. But whatever. I told him all of this exactly like verbatim, and because it is, I think it's just one of those things. It's where the market is. Like people like documentaries right now, so you just make a documentary. But there was a point in time where you would
based
do,
on a true story movies.
Exactly, it's either based on a true story or even just use it as inspiration.
Yeah,
like it's not, you know,
Lifetime movies and thrillers.
It's not
and
the
shit
exact
like that.
thing.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
And I think, you know, dangerous is a strong word. I think it is annoying because then dumb people watch it, think they got smart. And then come to talk to you about
it,
rather than tell you, I saw this great movie, you got to see it.
Right.
Like,
it's like, let me tell you about the facts.
Right.
Rather than just being like, yo, Gosling was great in that movie.
Right. When it was that story, like the Gosling's a great example. Like fucking
the Durst thing.
What's it called? All Things. All Good Things. They don't use his real name in that, do they? Is he Robert Durst?
No,
he's not.
But it's his story.
But it's Robert Durst,
right?
Like that, and then the Jinx happened. The Jinx might be one of the things that started all this.
It did. The Jinx was the first one. There was always like Dateline in 2020 and shit. But Jinx was like, we solved a murder through a documentary,
right?
And that's what set.
So that was people just saw it like, this is a crazy movie. You got to see this, and they don't have the need to tell you, like, talk to you like they're the smartest fucking person in the world,
right?
And
there was a couple that were compelling, and then it was just like, this guy's guilty, or or you didn't prove one thing one way or the other, so what are we doing here?
I think we're coming back a little bit, and maybe too much at times. We're like with the docudramas, because once it's at least when it's not just some fucking scientist or whatever sitting there being like, well, I poured over all this. When it's just like an actor, you can go like your brain at least goes, well, they're taking some liberties here.
Right.
It doesn't do that when you're having that sit down interview. You're like, whoa, we're talking to an expert here. So like, I much prefer, as a viewer and as someone who people talk to about movies, I much prefer them doing them that
as a fiction,
vague or fiction way.
Right. Unless you got the goods, don't do some true crime shit.
Yeah.
If you got the fucking envelope, like in the Jinx or whatever, fine. But otherwise, or just be like, this is a documentary about murders. Don't be like, this is like new compelling details. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You're lying. All right, let's get into it with Ari. Great interview. Ari Shafir is here. He's got his new podcast coming out. You Be Trippin'. He does a travel podcast, sitting down with people who have traveled all over the world. Let's get into it. Ari Shafir on KFC Radio. All right, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Click that button.
Or I'll cut off my finger.